Good afternoon, and welcome to NJII and to the New Jersey Innovation Institute. And in particular, we want to welcome our partners here, Hackensack Meridian Medical, and some outstanding partners in John Lloyd and Bob Garrett and Andy Pecora. And the meeting, I go back to a meeting, it had to be at least a year and a half ago. We traveled to Hackensack and started a conversation about how can we do things together for the good of engineering and medicine. And the application of what we do as scientists, as engineers, and technologists, and how it's quickly becoming integrated into medicine, and many of you may be sitting here as an example of how it may even be integrated, if not into you physically, into the latest equipment you were tested with, the data or the analytics you received from a physician, from an annual checkup. So the integration of science, technology, engineering, and the M we usually use for math, STEM, is really today as much M squared, and certainly medicine. So from that conversation some year and a half ago, outstanding people, both in Hackensack Meridian as well as NJIT and NJII, we began conversations that produced this kind of partnership. And just in this last half hour or so, standing here, imagining how much more we can do, whether it's in cell technology or in traumatic brain injury, or where our next innovation that we're beginning to look at is in materials science and microelectronics, and think about the applications of that to the healthcare business. So the fact that Hackensack Meridian has come here today and working with us in an ideation center. So the vision going back it's about 5 years ago. There was a governor who decided he was going to try and reform medical education in the state of New Jersey. And we all know the product of that. We were possibly one of the pawns, one of the chess pieces. After all, there was what was then UMD&J, Rutgers Newark across the street, and how are we, NJIT, going to stand in the middle of all of that? And why wouldn't we have that nice big red R that we've all become very familiar with? And our proposition back then was that we have been able to partner as scientists, as engineers, and as technologists with a host of industries. And we see medicine and healthcare delivery as one of those critically fast-growing, needed industries, particularly as more of us reach greater into the calendar of age. So therefore, if you leave us alone, which I think was a phrase I may have used, and allow us to partner. And even back then, some 6 years ago, I could not vision this partnership. We already started talking about NJII. We didn't quite use it. Don may remember the title we were working with at the time, about we would be a portal for business and industry to gain access to the resources of New Jersey's public polytechnic university. That's who we are. So we have outstanding faculty, outstanding students, undergraduate and graduate, and facilities. So how do we partner? And it also became the platform for other partnerships. But today, with this partnership, Mr. Lloyd and Mr. Garrett, it's outstanding. We thank you for willing to partner and invest with us and just continue to imagine how grand the future we can have together. So thank you very much. So it's now my opportunity to introduce, Don and I go back so far. I think we came here, I'm here 27 years. Don is here probably about 24, 23. And so we kind of grew up together. We even got smart together, wiser, and had opportunities to work on initiatives such as NJII. He is a true partner. He is probably one of the best people on this campus to speak about science and technology. I've heard a lot of his speech over these many years, and I'm still fascinated by it, about all of the innovation and where we started as a state, with all the invention and inventors that were here, and our legacy and the shoulders we obviously stand upon today. So he told me we all have to cut down our speeches. He's taken the history of science and innovation in the state of New Jersey out of his speech, and it's my pleasure to introduce the president of NJII, Don Sebastian.
Not quite out. So it is my privilege to also welcome you to the campus that's been my home for 23 years, and the building that serves as the new home for NJII. And I say new, knowing that it has old bones, and those old bones are an important story. This building was the Central High School building put up in 1911 when barges were still coming down the Morris Canal. If you drive on Lock Street, it's because there used to be a lock. And even before that, in 1881, this university was created, first in a modest building, what's now, I think, a parking lot across the street from the new Prudential building, as the Newark Technical School. Important thing is created by local industry. Local industry to serve the needs of what was a newly emerging U.S. industrial base. Actually, Newark and New Jersey had already led the country since the formation of the nation, when Alexander Hamilton picked Patterson Falls as the first beachhead for American manufacturing. And it spread quickly throughout the region. And as Joel said, time won't permit telling you that full story, or even the full story of what began here, but Thomas Edison began his inventive career here, manufactured in 3 factories, the last of which you can toast him. It's now called the Edison Ale House, next to the Peru Center. And one of his chief rivals, Edward Weston, became the founder and the first chairman of the board of the Newark Technical School to address the need for a new kind of workforce, the people who would not just be worker bees, but would exceed to lead the science-based industries that became the anchor of the U.S. economy for really the better part of the next 100 years. Electric light and power, broadcast radio and television, RCA Sarnoff, Ma Bell, the petrochemical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, medical device technology, all of them born, nurtured, and grown here, not just in R&D labs, but in production centers. And through that history, NJIT, under various names, we change it every 30 years to keep people on their toes. But in its final incarnation as NJIT, has really supplied about 1/4 of the state's total technical workforce, and that's not a small boast in a state that has the highest density of engineers and scientists anywhere in the world. So what went wrong with this picture? Another story too long to tell, but about 30, 40 years ago, we began dismantling the innovation energy of the American engine of the American economy. Corporate R&D all but disappeared as we tried to right-size, downsize, and save our way to prosperity as the rest of the world had figured out how to partner across government, industry, and university to move not individual companies forward, but sectors forward from which those companies would benefit. And that's really the model that we've tried to emulate here at NJII, focused initially around 5 core industrial sectors: biopharmaceutical production, the broad area of civil infrastructure, defense and homeland security, financial services, and healthcare delivery systems serve to define the sectors that we serve, in which we try to bring together the major players, the minor players, the academics, the government agencies, everyone, many of whom are represented in this room in this particular industry, to identify the problems that are too big for anyone to digest on their own, to use some of our unique tools and technologies, our energy and our capacity to help them solve their problems, not to sell our solutions, but to help people develop their own solutions. And so it is very important that we use all of that capability on what's rapidly becoming one of the biggest issues for the U.S. economy to solve. There was a Social Security Advisory Board study in 2009 that said the rising cost of health care was probably the #1 threat to the vitality of the U.S. economy. You all know the statistics. The prospect of 1/3 now of the average American's income going to pay for health care. We can all moan about it, or we can recognize that the solution's not going to come by each of us slowly trying to optimize our individual capacities, but putting together the great hospital systems like we have here today, the physicians, the pharmacies, the clinical labs, the ratepayers, and even the patients as a community to figure out how to bring that cost down through efficiencies. And the other thing they recognize, which is why we're involved, is that we really need to take a systems view, an engineering mentality, the same mentality that took the automotive industry from hand craftsmen building carriages one at a time to Ford, who created or adopted the assembly line technology that made the Model T affordable for everyone, and ultimately turned to create the largest U.S. manufacturing plant for automobiles right here in Mahwah, New Jersey. But enough of history. We're here now to talk about the future. The future is one of partnership and collaboration, and it is our great privilege to be able to work with the state's leading hospital system in achieving that dream. Not only the #1 hospital, 6 years in the running? Thank you, CEO Garrett, for a wonderful job. At 4 of the top 10 hospitals in the most recent ranking. And you opened the door, as Joel mentioned, in a meeting to a partnership, and Dr. Pecora stormed through that door full of energy and ideas, great ideas, right, in which we can be a partner to help execute those ideas. And it turned from a match made in heaven, at least in terms of mission and ambition, to something that's now bearing fruit in today's proceedings and the ongoing relationship. So it is our great privilege to count Hackensack Meridian as our anchor tenant, our partner, and if you will, the naming rights when you're in here as your ideation center. And we hope not only to take you through the first phase of identifying hot technologies, but nurturing those companies into growth and into successful commercial enterprises that help you and ultimately help the rest of the U.S. healthcare delivery system. I would love to talk even longer, but I'm already twice my budget, and the CEO title doesn't afford you much more latitude than that. So with that, I thank you very much. I look forward to today's proceeding, and now let me pass the baton to Assistant Health Commissioner Chris Rinn. Thank you all.
Thanks, Don, and really to all the distinguished guests, President Bloom and our co-CEOs, Bob Garrett and John Lloyd, Dr. Pecora, our great partner in the state, Tom Gregorio, NJII, and Tom Bartiromo, Dean Stanton as well, board members and other distinguished guests. It's really a great privilege for me to represent the department here at the launch of this great initiative in New Jersey. This partnership will most certainly advance the health of our communities and the health of those across the great state of New Jersey. Given the dynamic and evolving nature of healthcare, it really takes strategic partnerships and collaborations just like the one taking place in this room today in order to ensure that New Jersey maintains its strong leadership in healthcare research, technology, and service delivery. I'm acutely aware that I am the only government guy in the room, and that the topic of the day is innovation. Government and innovation is, might be challenging for those in government to really speak about, but in all seriousness, innovation is a large part of what we do and what we believe in at the State Health Department. In fact, innovation is the cornerstone of our mission. It is embodied in the mission statement of the Department of Health, which is improving health through leadership and innovation. We recognize that to improve the health in our communities and to drive population health, no one entity can go at it alone. It really takes the whole of community working together, developing leading-edge tools and strategies and technologies, as well as working together to break down the barriers to better, more efficient, and more cost-effective care. To that end, the department has been working with NJII and our partners to develop the New Jersey Health Information Network, otherwise known as NJII. This enables a statewide data sharing initiative that helps connect not only hospitals, but health information exchange organizations and clinicians in a meaningful way. Further, we're refining that data initiative by launching a master person index that uniquely identifies, in a very specific way, patients across the healthcare continuum. These initiatives really empower those charged with the awesome responsibility of providing care to those who need it in our communities and to those who have the responsibility of driving population health with the tools they need to do their job. NJII's work is supporting the development of these initiatives in a real meaningful way. Folks, this is where the rubber meets the road in terms of innovation. When you can bring academia together with our healthcare partners and state government, it really makes a difference in people's lives. This expertise, coupled with the innovation and leadership at Hackensack Meridian Health, will really set the stage for, frankly, a new pathway forward in healthcare, a new pathway that involves innovation, new ideas, and frankly, cutting-edge technology that will improve and drive population health in our communities for years to come. Again, it's been a real honor for me to stand here with such distinguished guests. I would like to say on behalf of Governor Christie and Commissioner Bennett, we are really excited about this initiative and look forward to all the fruit that it will bear in the years to come. And it's my great pleasure now to introduce co-CEO of Hackensack Meridian Health, Bob Garrett.
Thank you, Chris, for those comments. How about another round of applause to our Assistant Commissioner of Health, Chris Wren. I was going to stay apolitical, but I think a new campaign slogan for the state, Chris, after your little talk could be government and innovation perfect together. Could work. Think about it. I just want to, first of all, I'm delighted to be here today. This is really an exciting milestone, exciting moment for all of us. I want to start by just recognizing a few individuals, two of whom you've already heard from, but I think this is a very special partnership. I think it warrants some recognition. So Joel Bloom, who's the president of New Jersey Institute of Technology. He's been a great partner from the beginning, and you know at Hackensack Meridian we have lots of partners, so I don't say this lightly, but you guys are really special partners, and congratulations for everything you've done, so appreciate the partnership. And Don Sebastian, who's the president of NJII. Don, thank you for your camaraderie, for your collegiality, and really bringing our teams together to make this day a reality. Really appreciate the partnership. So Don, thank you so much. And Andrew Pecora, who you're going to hear from in a few minutes, who is our Chief Innovation Officer. Andrew is a rare breed, if you will, in medicine, in that he is truly an innovator, truly an entrepreneur, and a great clinical leader in one body, in one person, which really is very, very unique. I've known Andrew for, about 30 years now, and we've been through a lot together, and I want to congratulate him on this very special day. My only problem with Andrew Pecora, very frankly, is that he's one day younger than me. And he takes every opportunity to remind me of that. We are actually going to be celebrating a very special birthday in actually a couple weeks, and I don't look forward to those 24 hours where I'm actually 1 year older than him. But congratulations, Andrew, on a great job. So it really is an honor to be here today. I think one of the hallmarks of Hackensack Meridian Health's culture is innovation. I think it will really be a distinguishing factor, a real differentiator for Hackensack Meridian. And we believe that this partnership with NJIT and NJII will be a true game changer, not just for our organizations, our three organizations, but for the state of New Jersey as well. This partnership really has incredible, incredible potential. So here we are at the Ideation Center. It will serve as an incubator for new ideas. It will serve as an incubator to evaluate products and services and partnerships with new companies. I can think of really nothing that's more exciting than that. And you know, as we move forward, one thing that everybody has to realize, there's a lot of announcements that are made in New Jersey and outside New Jersey about new initiatives, but this one is actually in practice already. So we have actually taken 10 companies through this ideation center, 4 of which will go to the next step, which we're not allowed to say, but I'll say it anyway. It's called Shark Tank, without Mark Cuban, of course. But we're going to have a panel of judges to evaluate those 4 companies that made the cut, if you will. So this is already happening in action, and as we evaluate products and services in new companies, we're going to keep in mind 4 goals, 4 objectives that are really going to guide us. Number 1, will they enhance the quality of care that we're delivering today with a real focus on patient outcomes? Number 2, will the product, the service, or the company help us to advance the patient experience, the human experience? Number 3, will they provide better access for healthcare, maybe through technology that can connect whoever's out there with our healthcare network, our healthcare system? And number 4, can they help us to become a more efficient healthcare network with the goal of providing more affordable care to the people of New Jersey? Those are really our 4 principles. Now, we're backing this up by putting our money where our mouth is. So I really credit our Board of Trustees for allocating $25 million in an innovation fund that will be used for these startup types of ventures, whether it be to invest in a product, a service, or a new company. So I really applaud the visionary leadership of our board. And we have 2 of our board members that have joined us today, and I do want to take the opportunity to recognize them at this time. Al Chiavetti and Marvin Goldstein from the Hackensack Meridian Health Board of Trustees. Thank you, gentlemen. So in closing, I do believe that this partnership is very exciting. The possibilities really are limitless. I do believe we're going to see discoveries. We're going to see new innovations that come out of this partnership. We're already starting to see it. Last week, as an example, I do want to give Nancy a little kudo here. Nancy Corcoran-Davidoff is our Chief Experience Officer. And last week, Nancy hosted what we called an Experience Cafe. And we had team members and we had outside entrepreneurs here, and they shared ideas. And I understand it was a tremendous success. So again, we're living and breathing this already. It's already in place. I know there's going to be more of those experience cafes to follow. So, you know, Steve Jobs, I think we all will recognize that Steve Jobs is somebody for our generation that really represents innovation and entrepreneurship, a true business leader, a true leader in today's environment, a global leader. And I think he's said so much that's been so meaningful over many years. But one quote that I want to close with that does come from Steve Jobs that I think really sums up today, and that is that innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And I think that's what we're all here for. We're here to celebrate leaders in innovation in our state, and we will support them in their efforts to innovate and in their efforts to continue the journey of discovery. So thank you all for being here, and we look forward to a very successful endeavor. Thank you. have a lot of respect for John Lloyd. We've been co-CEOs now for a little over a year. I can assure you not only are we doing well together as co-CEOs, but Hackensack Meridian Health is doing really, really well. We're continuing. This is a good example today of how we're continuing our progress. So it gives me great pleasure in introducing my co-CEO, Mr. John Lloyd.
I want to thank Joel. I want to thank Don. Assistant Commissioner Chris, thank you very much for all your support. And really, I just want to say a few things. This is a great opportunity for all of us, and I'm very, very excited. This is it's an opportunity for us to do something that's innovative, and actually we can change something and see the results of that. And as Bob said already, we've had 10 companies come in and make pitches to us. And also there's a proposal now for a new product to minimize risk in surgery, and another one to improve monitoring of cardiac patients. So we're going to hear more and more. It's 10 today, but it's going to be exponentially more than that. Bob talked about Shark Tank. I love that show. I really do. I'm an entrepreneur, and the people on Shark Tank are entrepreneurs. I did say to Bob, we can't use Shark Tank, but I really like the idea of Snake Pit. So, again, Bob, I think, said it well, that our participation here is very exciting to our entire organization. It is an opportunity for us to make our lives, the people we care for make their lives better. And there's just so many opportunities. I'm very optimistic about this new joint venture, and particularly because in healthcare, I think we're somewhat unique. I know there are other incubator companies around the country, but they're far and few between if you look across all the country. I also want to thank our partners at NJIT and NJII. This is phenomenal. Thank you for partnering with us. I can tell you everyone here is very excited. And then finally, I just want to say a special thanks to Andrew Pecora. As Bob said, Andrew Pecora is a very unique individual, an outstanding physician, and I really have had the privilege to work with him now for, I guess, probably almost 2 years. So I just want to give you another big round of applause. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Tom Gregorio, who is NJII in the Innovation Institute.
Thank you. Let me just get my talk out of the way. Today is an exciting day for me because in 2009, that's when the journey started for me, right? I walked into Don Sebastian's office, and I told him that the government had these regional extension center programs that they were opening up grants for. There's 62 of them in the country. I was finishing up my master's program, and he was the senior vice president of research and development, and he said, okay, we've done extension before in the manufacturing business. And that led to a $23 million award. That led to 4 years of hard work in converting the state of New Jersey that was at 15% electronic health record penetration to 85% today. Now, that doesn't happen without government intervention, but it brings us to where we are today. So when we fast forward to 2013 and Dr. Bloom's infinite wisdom of making sure that we form an organization where industry sectors can go to one place to access university resources that had never been touched in New Jersey. That's a great opportunity. Tom and I come from a long background in healthcare IT, and that enigma of the university and what's inside, what's possible, is what we really believe this partnership's going to do for us today. Today's ribbon cutting celebration helps us commemorate a very important day for NJII and the Healthcare Delivery Systems iLab, allowing us to reach another milestone in our organization's growth. Having President Bloom, Dr. Sebastian, here along with Hackensack Meridian's co-CEOs, John Lloyd and Bob Garrett, and their Chief Innovation Officer, as well as our friends and partners from the Department of Health, underscores the impact our lab and NJII's ideation program for healthcare will have on an industry in the months and years ahead. And as Mr. Gadd already said, and we're already moving those wheels, things are starting to happen really fast. It's not an idea, it's actually in action. Having HMH as a charter member, brings us a living healthcare laboratory with 13 hospitals, 200 locations, 28,000 employees, and over 6,000 physicians. That is a great place to be to solve problems, to figure out what's in those unattended queues so that other people can do their job. And that's something that we like to do very much. NJIT is a STEM university with students and faculty focusing on making the world a better place through engineering, big data, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, gamification, and many other disciplines that we continue to explore and evolve. And here, right in this lab, we will be able to focus those energies to spark what I hope will become a stream of disruptive healthcare innovations that are so revolutionary that hospitals, providers, payers, and consumers will be compelled to take notice. We all know the costs in care are too high and that our healthcare system is too complex. We all agree that steps need to be taken to move us forward towards achieving the healthcare triple aim. And we all understand that healthcare, by its very nature, is slow to act, and institute reforms are not any faster. And this reality is simply no longer acceptable. Hackensack Meridian Health is building a culture of entrepreneurship and innovation. This is the first thing that Dr. Pecora charged us with. That's what he wants, well, you all want, from everybody that works in the organization. No idea is a bad idea. Everything should be vetted. That's the plan. I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish, proud of my team. In the last 3 years, we've gone from 12 people to over 100 in 3 different states doing this great work that we do. And the leadership of NJIT, NJII, and Hackensack Meridian Health, without whom the ceremony would not be taking place. And in closing, I thank everyone for being here as part of our celebration, for our partnerships, and for the great successes we will achieve as a result of our collaborations. Thank you. And at this point, I would like to introduce one of our fearless leaders, Dr. Andrew Pecora.
Wow, what a great afternoon, huh? This is so exciting. It's for scientists, it's like being in a candy store. So I want to start by acknowledging and thanking our leadership of Hackensack Meridian Health, Mr. Bob Garrett, Mr. John Lloyd, our board. I won't recite everything they've already told you, but without them, we wouldn't be here today, and their leadership, so thank you. I also want to acknowledge the Hackensack Meridian healthcare team that made today a reality, and I'd like them to stand up. Sandra Elliott, Joe Lemaire, and Tony Del Campo. These 3 individuals, professionals, let's acknowledge them, worked tirelessly to make today a reality and have been instrumental in us standing up the Ideation Center. We all know what it is we want to accomplish. There's not a person in this room who's been ill or has someone they love that's been ill who doesn't want exactly what that person needs to make them better. No more, no less. And there's no compromise on that. But the people in this room are also healthcare executives, and we understand as a nation, as a people, we can't afford healthcare at its current rate of expenditure. So how do you bridge those 2 things? How do you bridge precision medicine with population health? That's what this is all about. So let's just take an inventory of what we have. So we are at an amazing time in human history. When you think about life sciences, we can now edit the human genome with CRISPR-Cas9 technology. We can take snippets of DNA out that are destined to cause an individual a lifetime of misery and suffering and make it like it didn't happen. And everyone heard about that the last couple of weeks ago. With Material sciences, nanotechnology. We can take individual atoms and line them up precisely the way we want, and then put cells on top of them to do things that we can't even imagine. And then computational science. Everybody knows that we are entering the realm of quantum computing, DNA computing, quantum computing. Everybody hears about artificial intelligence. We at Hackensack Meridian Health created a company, CODA. We also partnered with IBM Watson to start to do these things. One can only imagine when you put these three things together. So the genius of this partnership is we are an amazing life science healthcare institute and care delivery system at Hackensack Meridian Health. NJIT and NJII is one of the leading technology schools in the world. So what do we have? Life sciences, material sciences, and computational sciences, all together. We at Hackensack Meridian Health are about to launch a couple of institutes on the Roche campus. We have a myeloma institute. We're going to be announcing a major donation by the Celgene company to cure the disease multiple myeloma. We have a Cancer and Infectious Disease Institute we're going to be launching, and we just had a conversation moments ago about how to build a cell therapy manufacturing facility in partnership. And then finally, and Bob Garrett's really going to like this, we're building a regenerative medicine institute. Now, Bob, we won't have it ready for your birthday, but maybe for mine, where we can actually slow the aging process down. And then we have a new medical school. So computational science, material science, life science, institutes, new medical school, two great organizations, all here in New Jersey. The rest of the country is going to be following our lead. I'm so proud to be here and be part of this, and thank you. And finally, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the two Toms. You just heard from the first one. I'm now going to introduce the second Tom. Tom, if you want to come up.
Thank you, Andy. Creating the conditions for the right things to happen. This has been a core tenet for Tom and I over our career. This is an example, this is a great example, quite frankly, of one of the right things. So when we talk about creating the conditions for the right things to happen, it is about the orchestration of things, people, process, technology coming together without having direct control over anything. So when we talk about creating the conditions, Tom and I were incredibly excited working with Dr. Pecora and the Hackensack team on this event. And again, it's an orchestration of talented and passionate people engaged in improving preventative care in a coming value-based environment, which is not easy. The challenges ahead are many and complex. I know Hackensack is up for the challenge, and quite frankly, we stand with you to be part of that. A forward-looking health system and management team with a deep appetite for open innovation matches well with New Jersey Innovation Institute and NJIT. It's in our DNA, it's who we are. A Confucian scholar said, "What I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. What I do, I understand." Over the past year and a half working with Dr. Pecora and his team, we have heard and seen what needs to be done. Now is the time to do it. We share in this passion together. We know we can be with you. We know we can affect change, and we will. I thank you for your partnering, and we look forward to doing more together, combining our collective resources, supporting meaningful advances in care and precision medicine. And we couldn't be doing it with a greater set of people, which is what this really comes down to, people. We are in a people business, and we greatly appreciate that partnering. Thank you.